Performance Mobile One.
So Dennis reached out to me on my least favorite platform, but he did all my favorite things. He said year, make, and model, symptoms. It's not too long. He didn't write me a book and just got right to the point. So this platform, why does it cover up his name? I don't know. This thing's just, it sucks. It is terrible. So glitchy, so clunky. But anyway, he's having overheating problems. As I'm reading this, I read it, and he's watching my YouTube videos. I'm famous for my Subaru stuff. He's got a 2012 Outback. I know that's a Subaru. 2.5 liter, plagued with head gasket problems. 200,000 miles. He even left the miles. 150,000 miles usually when you start seeing head gasket problems. So somebody took care of this. Probably in good shape. But is it overheating? We read down radiator, so I'm thinking overheating. Pretty dirty plug. Replace the radiator, the cap, which is an integral part in terms of pressure in this relative matter, and the thermostat. So his thermostat's probably not opening, and he doesn't know that. Even the new one, but it's not the thermostat's fault. It's getting all those little compression gases accumulating around it, and then they don't have the thermal potency that the coolant does. Wet has more of an effect temperature, hot or cold. Think boiling hot water on you versus hot air on you. Let's see, 194 to 203. That's right where it should be, and then it starts getting up to 217 before he shuts it down. And when you shut it down, does it boil and make all kinds of noise? It does what? Let's see, overflow tank was full to the top and it was bubbling. Okay, so yeah, so he's getting way too much pressure in there and it's getting too hot. So what I think is happening is I think compression gases are getting stuck around the thing. I'm going to go back to my old school way, and instead of making things all polished, and just try to be concise on this and just take it one shot. So if I were at his car, I would pop the hood, I'd get it up to operating temperature, and the first thing I would do when that temperature started to climb is I would feel the top radiator hose. It should be about 200 degrees. Engine coolant comes out of the engine in the top radiator hose, goes down to the bottom, and then it gets sucked back up by the water pump. And the thermostat's located in the lower hose on the Subarus, and it can't circulate on purpose because the thermostat blocks it off so that it can warm up quickly and get efficient and have good gas mileage and good power. Everybody likes that. That's why we use a thermostat. If you don't, then you don't get as good fuel atomization in your intake manifold and all that fun stuff. So here's the thing. I would grab this hose. Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. I can hardly hold on to it. And then I grab the lower hose. His hose is going to be cold because the coolant's not flowing through it. And all the hot and the heat is accumulated up here. And this one's going to be noticeably cooler. If it was flowing, this would feel just as hot as this does. And so the next thing I'd do is I'd take off his thermostat and then I'd drill tiny little holes in it. You see how this has like an out or whatever? Pretend this is a thermostat because it kind of is similar. We'll turn it upside down like this so it looks even more like it. So the thermostat sits in there like that. The spring is full of gases that have accumulated over time. And they can't get out, they can't go anywhere. So I'm going to drill a hole off the side of the spring, but not in the ceiling area because it's got a cup thing over it. So there's this little margin where you can drill tiny little holes, and it's mounted this way, so I'm going to do it in the top because air goes to the top, right? And I'm going to make it so that the air holes allow coolant to flow in and pass and push past all of the gases and whatever, and when it flows in there, then it can man, words. I'm struggling, I'm tired, but I really want to help this guy. Do I do a take 8? I'm just going to keep going. But basically, I've had Subarus where they run for a long time past that. There's a big difference between a head gasket failure due to temperature and a head gasket failure due to those gases that make it overheat. A blown head gasket doesn't have to make chocolate milk looking stuff in here where coolant and the oil mix. So the head gasket has compression gases present, it has coolant present, it has oil present, and they can mix any which way. depending on the type of failure. A corrosive kind of failure or material failure causes the compression gases. When your spark plug goes bang to push a piston down, some of that leaks around the head gasket and gets into the cooling jacket and accumulates around that spring, and then it doesn't have the potency to cause the spring to expand and contract the way it's supposed to in order to open and close the flow of coolant to get your temperature just right? When these overheating kind of head gasket failures where you have no other symptoms, just the car's overheating, you don't know why, the overheating can then cause the head gasket to fail the rest of the way, especially if you don't catch it and you don't see that there's a problem. So if this is increasing and getting a whole bunch of coolant in it, then you are having an overheating issue. And so like I say, is it the thermostat or is it something else? Grab the hoses and see if one of them's cold. If it's cold, then it's not flowing in a circle. Investigate into that. So I'm going to leave the video at that and just tell you how to get free towing before I sign off. You can get free towing once a year from your insurance company. So if you're away from home, park the car, get a tow truck. Replacing a head gasket is expensive. If it really blows, it can get really expensive. It can ruin the whole engine. But if you keep your receipt from your tow, if it's about $100, even if you just have liability, your insurance agent will usually cover it. Why? Because if your car's broke down on the side of the road and somebody hits it and you're liable for it or responsible, then they have to pay. It's way cheaper for them to reimburse your tow and get you to get your car off the side of the road. If you're having a lot of breakdowns, get AAA, because then you're going to have to start paying for it. But anyway, I hope this helps you out. Thanks for giving me your make and model and all that stuff and not making it too long. I'm going to keep this one short. Cheers.